What is up, everyone? So you had to quit your current school for whatever reason. Maybe you got a new job. Maybe you, I don't know, had to leave for whatever reason. You go to a new academy, and the coach wants you, or the instructor wants you to take off your belt and start again, or go back one belt. What do you do? Guys, my name is Bill Jones. I'm the head instructor of top level martial arts in beautiful downtown Cuyahoga Falls. I'm a black belt under Master Pedro Sauer, and you're watching Professor's Corner. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. I do want to apologize. I know it's been a couple weeks since I've uploaded an episode, and part of that is because many of you have noticed, I've been busy competing, and that's not a good excuse, but it's the reason. So I've been competing, kind of focusing on that, just trying to challenge myself as a black belt. There's really no other reason for it. And I wanted to thank you guys for the support on that, by the way. I've seen lots of really positive comments, even though, watching me is not like watching like Lucas Lepre or Marcus Buchecha or Hozier Gracie or anything like that. So thank you for the positive comments. I really appreciate it. So yeah, I was on a forum, and I think Chewy on Jiu-Jitsu did a video about this as well. But anyway, it's about, you go to a new school, and someone wants you to take off your rank and put on a different rank. Why would they do that? Well, let's first talk about the obvious reasons. If you're doing, say, karate, and you have a black belt in karate, and you go to a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school, it's a completely different martial art. So it makes perfect sense in that context to wear a new rank, wear the rank that you have in that martial art. Even if I went into a judo school, despite the fact that I know a lot of judo throws and a lot of those types of takedowns, I am not a judoka. I have no rank in judo. I would expect to put on a white belt in judo. So despite the overlap, the things that are similar, there's a lot that's different. I think that's the obvious reference, though. I think what we're talking about more is someone who is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, say, purple belt, goes to a school, and that school says, hey, you don't seem to meet the requirements we want, or we require everybody to put on a white belt when they first come in, whatever. What should you do? Well, the first thing is, if you really want to train at that school, you're going to have to follow that school's policies. It's that simple. So if they want you to take off your belt and you want to train there, you take off your belt. That's the option, right? You do what they tell you to do. However, do I think that's fair? In general, I think it's weird. I don't know why a school would want to do that. It seems like a bit of a power trip or an ego trip, especially in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, where everybody, like blue belt is a blue belt is a blue belt. It seems like an easier thing to me is to sit down with whoever comes in, and I've done this on an occasion and said, hey, you know what, you're wearing a blue belt. I have a minimum time frame of a year. So even if you were like a day away from purple belt at your other school, the very minimum time frame that you could possibly get promoted in is a year after starting with me. And that's mainly to see if you're committed to our association and our way of doing things. The second thing is, you're going to have to learn whatever curriculum goes along with that. So let's say they were a white belt with 4 stripes, which typically in most schools means they're really close to graduating to blue belt. I would say, look, I need to see you learn the entire white to blue belt curriculum as prescribed by Master Pedro Sauer. And that's how we do it. I wouldn't take their stripes away, though. I wouldn't say you're no longer a 4-stripe white belt, because chances are they're a pretty good role at that point. Same thing, if they're wearing a blue belt, there's chances are they have a base of knowledge. Blue belt's a weird rank when someone comes in at blue belt, especially like a newer blue belt. And what I mean by that is, some places go more based on a curriculum, some places go based solely on rolling. So someone may come in and roll pretty well, but have a very narrow base of knowledge because they didn't learn from a curriculum. They just got good at like 3-4 moves, and so maybe they can hit a sit-up sweep and a a mounted arm bar on a lot of people, but as far as their volume of knowledge, it's not very good. So that one you generally play by ear. And when they're a purple belt or a brown belt, like, I don't see the point of ever taking someone's belt off of them. It's just not something that I believe in doing to someone. I am Bill Jones out of Cuyahoga Falls. I'm not Hozier Gracie. I'm not Marcelo Garcia. I am not Salo Ribeiro. I am not Pedro Sauer. I don't feel like I should be taking people's ranks off that were through other perfectly valid instructors. which brings up one last point. If someone comes in and they're, and it's like, oh, wow, you're a blue belt, who'd you train with? And they give me, or a lot of times when people, and I've only had it happen once or twice, and they never actually joined. They just stopped in to check out classes. They would say something like, oh, there was this guy up in New York, and I'd be like, oh, yeah, I know people in New York. What was his name? I'm honestly, genuinely curious. I'm not the kind of person who immediately thinks that someone's trying to lie to me or to make up a story. So I'm obviously kind of surprised, honestly kind of surprised when I catch people in these kind of stories and lies. But, the guy was like, yeah, he was just this guy up in New York. I trained under him for a little while. I got my I think he was saying he was a purple belt or something. And I said, oh, wow, that's amazing. Great job. You trained for a while then. And he goes, yeah, it was a long time. And I go, oh, what was his name? And he goes, oh, I forget. And it's like, you got to train with someone for 5-6 years, fast person promotion, 4 years to get a purple belt, and you don't remember their name? You got halfway to black and you don't remember their name? That's weird. So then, that's when I start pushing buttons, and I'm like, really? Who were they under? What was the lineage? Oh, I don't remember. Come on, man. Everybody right now is close enough to the source of Jiu-Jitsu, as far as from the Brazilian side of it, that you probably know your lineage, or at least most of it. Even if you don't know every instructor along the way, you might know, okay, yeah, I trained under Tony Rinaldi, and or maybe I trained under Bill Jones, and he's under some guy in Youngstown. I don't remember his name, but ultimately under Pedro Sauer and Elio Gracie and that group. Like, even if it's that kind of knowledge where, hey, you didn't know it was Bill Jones, Tony Rinaldi, Pedro Sauer, Hickson Gracie, Elio Gracie, you didn't know it was that direct lineage, you're pretty darn close. It's like, oh, okay, that's traceable. But if you don't know anybody in the lineage or whatever, they're probably feeding you a line of shit. And someone like that, I might do an evaluation on. I might say, hey, before you get to start here, I put new guys through an evaluation. Like I said, I've only had this happen twice in my academy, and I tell them that, and then they never come back. And that's my way of just keeping the liars out, because they don't want that evaluation. They want someone to just take them at face value so they can walk in with whatever rank they want and hopefully like cut in line, like no one's gonna notice. So that's my take on it. Like, and I guess I just can't see a situation where someone would take off the belt. Like, it's such a weird idea. Like, should you? I don't know. I mean, I guess if you really want to train there, like if I really, really, really want to train it, and to my knowledge, he does not do this. So let's be real clear on that. But let's pretend for a moment that Marcelo Garcia does that. Again, pretending, hypothetical. I'm not suggesting he does. But let's say I go there and I'm like, Marcelo, I'm a black belt under Pedro Sauer, and he goes, okay, I'm going to have you put on a purple belt, until you earn the black belt with me. And I really, really, really wanted to train there, really wanted to become part of their team and their competition stuff and all that. Maybe it is worth it to you to take off the belt. Now, that said, when you compete, you have to compete at your highest rank, so you're going to have to compete at black belt anyway, so I don't see why it would matter. But all that aside, it's a weird thing to ask. If your school does it, then okay, I'm not judging them, I guess, but it's just not something I would do, and it's something I would be I don't know why I would want to train somewhere that does that has that kind of ego up front. Anyway, guys, I didn't prepare a 5 simple steps, but I do have a cool video of me teaching from a workshop I did, some tips on Kimura defense from the half guard. So enjoy those, and I'll talk to you guys later. Definitely leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of the tips on the half guard defense. It's just a Kimura defense, and have a great day. Posture's tough to do. I'm a big guy, so it's hard for, like, everybody in my division is strong. Everybody in my division is big. Like, they're all, like, a lot of them can just pull, and it's hard to get real good posture. So like that's just what happens. And so something I can do is I can just put it down there. I can touch the lava. Okay. Remember, in the guard, the ground is supposed to be lava. The other hand has to be ready though. So he goes to that Kimura. I pin his opposite leg down, step over, and turn the corner. Now look, my arm is kind of in a weird situation at this point. And again, in my division and when I'm rolling big guys, everybody's strong, so I have to be careful here. But in general, for him to make this happen, like show that you could actually still tap. See what I mean? But watch.
Hey, you're fine. That's jerk.
Come on, buddy. Now,
Kimura rotation.
I just walk it out and look for the back. Get my chest to his shoulder blades. Now we're in a good spot. So the key is I can't let him crunch and get real tight to it. In order to get the Kimura, he wants to get the elbow to the chest. And we're going to talk about this a lot today. So remember, elbow to the chest. Like anytime I'm taking the Kimura, I want his elbow on my chest. Whoever's got the elbow on the chest is winning. All right? So I just can't let him get there. So one more time from the beginning. So here, I lead it. Immediately drive his knee down. Now look, his knee turned down, but it might just plant up like this. That's fine, just step over it. You know what I mean? Regardless. Boom. Grab his body here, and that's just going to allow you to create separation. I don't want him to get his chest to this guy. And now, the detail here for me to free my arm is that I straighten it first. And then I grab the ground. So he's got it bent. I straighten, rotate, find the ground, and the ground can always help me. Then I look for, if he would have turned his back to the ground, then fine, I have side control. No big deal. But I would love to get here, get my chest on his shoulder blades. And now I can just roll. I'm on his